Okay, first off, SMRs can't compete. Mahone 12. Small modular reactors can be constructed in factories, which may hinder emergency access. Rutgers doubt that SMRs can compete in a market dominated by cheap natural gas. Mr. Gina sees the economic feasibility of SMRs as a final challenge. With expensive gas prices and no carbon tax, the economies don't work in favor of the SMRs. Next, licensing. Licensing takes a minimum of 10 years and costs millions of dollars and drives off investors, and means they can't solve. Paying 6, 13, 14. The company leading the charge for the first development of an SMR in the U.S. was not only backing away from both previously announced plan, but it was also seeking revision of its 50-50 cost-sharing agreement with the DOE, under which the company had been spending at the rate of $80 million per year to complete its licensing application. Single conceptual side, SMR nuclear deployment opportunities and challenges reinforce the point, continue to show a 10-year timeline from the licensing application to initial operation for a 2-year power plant. The schedule differs little from that conventional large nuclear plant built at an existing site. But any prospective SMR buyer today obviously cannot count on any such projected industrial learning benefit years before it's demonstrated. Next, nothing before 2022, and that's if they win. And that's if they win. That's if they win. They get past the NRC. DOE is expecting to bid now, but nothing can be built. Mahone 12. Department of Energy will spend $452 million over the next 5 years to guide 2 small modular reactors designed through regulatory processes by 2022. This evidence is relevant because it shows that their plan will not solve in a timely manner. Do not vote for them. Next, even the most first and far along licensing deal won't be done until 2022. Best source, the United States Department of Energy, 14. The first agreement, the goal of this program is to support commercial operations of any SMR by 2022. So even the Department of Energy is on our side here, and they're the big guys with all this. If you vote for them, you're going up against the Department of Energy, and this evidence is pretty recent. Next, NRC licensing process butchers SMR implementment takes a decade and then some. Sullivan et al. 10. The biggest challenge to getting SMR to market in the United States is NRC licensing. SMRs must undergo rigorous NRC safety and licensing reviews. An applicant for an SMR design certificate would need to determine on its own and on a case-specific basis which of the safety and licensing standards and the regulations. Labor's uncertain process. Next, licensing procedures on new tech has yet to be streamlined. Delays cannot be bypassed or sped up. Raymond et al. 13. The centrality of licensing reactors is part of ensuring safety has been emphasized by the International Atomic Agency. Licensing of SMRs is not likely to be straightforward. Licensing any new nuclear reactor design, especially in the United States and Western Europe, has always been time-consuming, costly, involving detailed analysis and review. Mark the card there. It said with detailed analysis and review. You have to wonder, what would cause the detailed analysis and review? If this was just a normal thing, why would people have to review it? The answer is this is nuclear energy. This is dangerous. Next, Ice Age. My opponents, they admitted that the Ice Age would be bad. They did not answer our Ice Age disapp correctly. All they said is that warming is real. We agree that warming is real, but we say warming is a good thing. It is preventing us from getting on an Ice Age. Next, we are on path for an Ice Age, Ridley 2012. The entire 10,000-year history of civilization has happened in an unusually warm interlude in Earth's recent history. The warm spell is 1,600 years old, and it must come to an end. Cooling trend would reduce agricultural productivity for the rest of the century, and resulting famines could be catastrophic. Warmth has returned, driven at least partly by man-made carbon dioxide emissions. These emissions may avert to the return of the Ice Age. Interglacials may begin with abrupt warming, peak sharply, and then gradually descend into cooler conditions before plunging rather more rapidly into the freezer. Change in the sun's strength may gradually increase from snow and ice cover. This would have further cooled the air and ocean too. Our current interglacial shows a similar pattern. Our own interglacial period, as well as previous ones, and having an abrupt beginning and a sharp peak followed by slow cooling. With this evidence, you have to wonder. My opponents, they conceded that having everything frozen would be a bad idea, and assuming that you did their plan, no advantages would actually be reached because everything would be frozen over. Their farming advantage, crops, as this document said, an Ice Age would devastate agriculture. The ocean, that would be devastated if the ocean is frozen over. Next, terrorism. Nuclear energy sources Nuclear energy sources contain even a bigger threat than nuclear weapons. A single reactor is 100 times more potent than a nuclear bomb in a meltdown. That's their lead man. Next, these are just analyticals. Even if their evidence isn't specific to SMR, even if the evidence isn't specific to SMRs, it's general to nuclear energy as a whole, which includes SMRs. Even if that's not true, a reactor that's 100 times smaller than another is still the equivalent of a nuclear bomb, and the plant manufactures them on a large scale. That makes the risk of the impact practically guaranteed. And SMRs are not safer than nuclear reactors. 3 reasons. Lumen 13. SMRs use passive cooling systems that do not depend on the availability of electric power. Passive systems are not infallible, and credible designs should include reliable active backup cooling systems. SMRs feature smaller, less robust contamination systems than current reactors. This can have negative safety consequences, including greater probability of damage from hydrogen explosions. Judge, they said that these are safe. They are not safe. Next, reactor vendors cost corners to save cost, increase the risk of impact dramatically. UCS 13. A utility that thinks it can have its own nuclear reactor may get a plant more vulnerable to serious reactions. Even if small modular reactors were cheaper to build per unit, they would be less cost competitive, putting pressure on reactor vendors to slash the cost of construction and operation. Vendors are cutting corners on safety features. Vendors are also pressuring the NRC to weaken requirements for energy planning. To make matters worse, the NRC's discussion with vendors on their design and safety analysis are occurring largely in secret. Mark the card there. This evidence clearly says that assuming their plan goes into action, reactors will go into meltdown because they want, we're going to have the United States federal government fund this, and then private sector will go from there, investors will take this away. Well, the investors will be cutting corners. Next, trade-off. Space spending, I know, but Obama's looking for excuses to cut it. Year 14. May I note with this, even though it was short, they did not address the trade-off that we began to run. The FY 2014 Omnibus Spending Bill rejects cuts to NASA, sought by the White House. Congress plans to allocate $1.345 billion for NASA's Planetary Science Division, $127 million more than requested by the White House. Additional funding ensures the steady development of the next major mission tomorrow. It also provides $80 million for continued research into flagship-class mission to explore Europa, the magnetic moon of Jupiter that was recently revealed to spouting its liquid water ocean into space. Exploring Europa is no longer should, but a must. House has rejected cuts to planetary science for 2 years in a row, and 2 years Congress has rejected them. Increased funding for ocean exploration directly trace off in half the magnitude of 13. The United States, since the sea and space are competitors, they need not be. The fight probably comes down to money. Mark the card there. We have to explore. Okay, open to cross-examination.